Travis Wingate, so what a day this has been. It is now after 5 p.m., which means Judge First's term as judge is now officially over. I don't know if she's submitted her final decision, her final judgment, her order, because it's not on the docket yet. I have to wait till midnight. I'm checking my email just in case she sent something through the email. And no. Random Muse has responded. He's talking about Judge First. Let's see what he's talking about here. Streaming now. Judge First is front stage for 10th District Court integrity check. Is that just a general comment, Random Muse? Because I don't see a link. I would like to know what that means. If it's just a poetic symbolism, or if it was 3 hours ago. That was when I did my video. So why didn't you respond on the video? Because yeah, I know she'll be in the news. The Salt Lake Tribune covered it when she got fired. When it was made public, which was the very day that I had my hearing where she was supposed to dismiss my case. But I dropped a bombshell and revealed that the church had been paying the person who had disappeared me in 2008. So if she's streaming now, I'd like to know the link. But I'm not seeing anything from her, so that's not cool. So where is she streaming from? Who's streaming? It was 3 hours ago, so she's done now. So as far as I know, unless something shows up at midnight, she's gonna let it go on to some other Mormon judge who's gonna dismiss it, even when the lawyers for the church have no foundation. And I'll repeat it again for you. They argued in their motion for dismissal, which is officially 24 days late. You just don't do that. You automatically lose. But with a Mormon judge, he's going to allow it to go through. So what then would be their argument? The first one is that they say that it's the wrong jurisdiction. They say that it's a conspiracy theory and therefore must be dismissed. I filed it under conspiracy theories. 42 USC 1985 for conspiracy theories. So that doesn't hold any water. So their next argument was saying, well, his counts, my accusations, are not official counts. And so they quote, and they put page numbers in parentheses. They're from the nature of the case, not from the counts. So they didn't respond to any of my counts, where I list counts under this: count number 1, count number 2, count number 3, count number 4, count number 5, count number 6. You start to get the picture. And so they ignorantly, I mean, these guys are professional lawyers. They passed the bar. They got their license. They work for a professional legal firm. They were assigned to the church. And they pull this crap? They can't read counts under and count number 1, count number 2. Instead, they quote from the nature of the case. The judge should have immediately rendered a verdict for me. But that's not all. They said I didn't put a dollar figure in my request for relief. Instead, what did I put? Everything. Either the church hands me the keys and I take over the corporation, or they sell everything and give me the balance. And I already expected that one and have a collections agent all lined up ready to go. I was teasing them last week just in case Judge First was going to give the order. She didn't. And so they're now bothering me over and over and over again, trying to say, hey, we're trying to get a hold of you, we want to talk to you. Yeah, they're waiting. We just need the judge's order. And that's it. That was their defense for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints against all my counts, which number somewhere around the 50s. They didn't respond to a single count. They have no defense. And so, if they had turned it in on time and still presented that crap, that's how I would have responded. I would have, put in there the defense counsel has rightly understood this to be a conspiracy theory case under jurisdiction for conspiracy theories. So that doesn't mean that it's grounds for dismissal. Yeah, and then I would have pointed out they didn't respond to any of the counts, and I would quote, count, 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 and put page numbers. I mean, this is completely absurd, the way they were arguing. And the tension is down to the wire. Because if Judge First does nothing to protect her own skin, what do we do? Because it's going to be passed on to a Mormon judge. And I'm going to have to go through the whole thing. Oh, you're a Mormon judge. I'm sorry, you have to recuse yourself because you're Mormon. And I won't have any judge that'll be able to handle the case. Unless there is somebody there that's not Mormon. But are they going to risk it? Hell no. They know they've lost because the lawyers know they've lost. They've got no case. They couldn't respond to any of my counts. 50-ish counts. And they couldn't respond to any of them, so they just distract with saying the nature of the case doesn't show any counts. It's a conspiracy theory. He didn't give a dollar amount. Everything. That's the dollar amount. They know they've lost. The church knows they've lost. That's why I was telling you before coronavirus, hey guys, the church is acting weird. They're acting as if they're preparing to flee the country. Sure enough, because they lost the case. They know they are guilty. And these aren't just, they said no to Travis having assistance from the bishop's storehouse. No, we're not talking any of that kind of stuff. We're talking treason. We're talking war crimes. We're talking RICO, which is what it's filed under, because that's the majority of the counts. We have bigamy. Just 2 counts on bigamy. I was only married twice. and hate crimes. And they couldn't respond to any of it. Now, yes, I know they didn't want to bring any of that up because they couldn't. Because I put in my case, which you can listen to, I made the playlist for it, reading of lawsuit, something like that. It's just unbelievable that it had to go this long. And unbelievable that I have to wait until midnight. And I don't know if I'm I got worn out today, physically worn out. Not just mentally and emotionally worn out because of the hatred of Mormons. The downright evil of Mormons that I'm witnessing, that I'm a victim of. My own people betraying me. Utah is phonetically the same as Judah, because Judah with the J is a European corruption. It was Judah. The full version is Yahuda. But Judah, D and T are the phonetic equivalents. Utah, Judah. And so the lawyers tried to have me evicted. They tried to have me murdered. They tried to cover up their crimes during this case. It's like they didn't learn. They're guilty of crimes, so they say, well, we're guilty, we might as well try to finish them off. My own church, what I trusted in my whole life. And I found out, yes, Joseph was good. Joseph was a translator. But Brigham Young, no. And that's the deception on Mormons, is because they say, this church stands or falls on Joseph Smith. No, it doesn't. Joseph's organization stands or falls on Joseph. This church stands or falls on Brigham Young. It's not Joseph's church. Brigham Young took his group away from the rest of the Mormons. Some went and followed Sidney Rigdon, some followed Emma, some followed some guy named James Strang. He claimed he found plates and translated them. But that didn't last too long. But I think David Whitmer even had an organization. I'm not quite sure. He was religious because he, near the end of his life, he wrote a book called To All Believers in Christ, where he found out that Brigham Young had put in section 132 of the Doctrine and Covenants and said, oh, yeah, I remember Joseph and that maid of his. I was kind of accusing him of infidelity as I was getting threatened by the Danites, who I assumed were under orders of Joseph. They were under Brigham Young's orders instead. Just all sorts of false accusations, blaming Joseph, assigning things to Joseph. Never did any of it. Joseph's religion, Joseph's organization was completely different. And the church has been covering that up. And so they get up in conference, this bicentennial year. Oh, it's the so many years since Joseph's organization in 1830. That's the numbering. Did you know that there's another church, I think it's the Community of Christ, which was the reorganized church. They do conferences as well, and they number them the exact same numbering. I saw that on YouTube. They post theirs on YouTube also. I saw that and I went, oh, no, that's not the same. That's in a church building. Oh, it's that church. Oh, got it. Oh, okay. They maintain conferences. And yet Mormons say, that Joseph was true, therefore Brigham is the true prophet successor. Why not those other ones, guys? Why not Emma Smith, his wife? Well, because we're not in that one. Yeah, no duh. Just like my lawsuit was under the jurisdiction of conspiracy theory. I'm just worn out. Mentally and physically worn out. And I know that Mormons are going to try to murder me. I mean, the lawyers already tried to do it, and Mormons complied. Back in 2008, Mormons complied. My whole time in Utah, starting with my first ex, my first bigamous wife. She left me because I was pursuing Hebrew. My final year, she found out I was studying Hebrew at school. They designed the class for me so that I could graduate. They made it a dual major with a minor in ancient languages, which was actually technically classical languages, but they didn't know. And they made the class just for me so that I could graduate with an official degree. And that wasn't good enough for the woman formerly called my first wife. And so she abused me in that final year of our marriage. Literally, physically, verbally, mentally, emotionally abused me. We're talking severe abuse. She was on a full-on rage to force me out, and I wouldn't do it. So in February of 1997, after we moved to Utah, I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. I did it. You think, oh, that's great, dear. I don't know anything about it, but that's great. Nope. After conference in April, gone. Took the kids. He's 2 and she's 4, and they adore. It's like they knew. And so yeah, I hear it on the radio and I just bawl. I had to pull over. And my parents, because of Hebrew, hadn't gotten to the Egyptian part yet. It was just the Hebrew. After she had gone, I began deciphering petroglyphs. So my dad, wanting to show me up and show me that I know nothing, found an online test on Egyptian. Because he had taken it, didn't do too well, so he thought, well, this is going to be tough for Travis. There you go, son. It's all about Egyptian. See how good you are. His jaw dropped as I got 100. But still, again, the abuse continued with my parents. And then the abuse continued with the state of Utah. And the church tried to get me excommunicated. When I went to them saying, hey, I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew, Is there anything else Joseph Smith did that I don't know about? Get him excommunicated. Stake president and bishop. Sitting there in the room, they're interrogating me. Who have you told? You trying to destroy the church? What the hell's going on? Oh, we got this from President Hinckley. No, you didn't. It was F. Michael Watson, the secretary. What? And the bishop jumps in. I saw you not take the sacrament, and we all know that means you're a sinner. What the hell's wrong with you? And then the older singles ward bishop, tried to go Nazi on us. Literal white supremacist Nazi on us. The bread must be white bread. No. It doesn't matter what you eat or what you drink, as long as your eye be single to God. We have people who are gluten intolerant, or glucose, or whatever it is. And, remember on my New York mission, we were in Connecticut, and they came back to me, sitting in the back overflow in the chapel, and they came directly to me as the missionary, because I was new, and they said, don't make any kind of scene or comment about the lettuce that we're going to be using for one of our investigators or members or something, new members. And I said, okay, deal. It's just unbelievable. And so, yeah, that bishop kicked me out, took away my temple recommend. I was going to the temple every single day. That's why I have a lot of it memorized. Adam, 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 where art thou? I heard thy voice and hid myself because I was naked. Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou partaken of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of which I commanded thee not to partake? The woman thou gavest me and commanded that she should remain with me, she gave me of the fruit of the tree, and I did eat. Eve, what is this thou hast done? The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Lucifer, what hast thou been doing here? I have been doing that which has been done on other worlds. What is that? I have been giving some of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil to them. Lucifer, because thou hast done this, thou shalt be cursed above all the beasts of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust thou shalt eat all the days of thy life. If thou cursest me for doing the same thing which has been done on other worlds, I shall take the bodies thou createst for Adam and Eve. I shall take the spirits that follow me, and we shall possess the bodies that thou createst for Adam and Eve. I will place enmity between thee and the seed of the woman. Thou mayest have power to bruise his heel, but he shall have power to crush thy head. Then with that enmity I will take the treasures of the earth, and with gold and silver I will invest in Ensign Peak Associates. So, yeah, a little off. It's been a while. But every day they knew me at the Jordan River Temple. They knew me. And it got flagged when I scanned for that warning. And I had to talk with the temple president, who said, nothing I can do, the bishop flagged it. And I lost my temple recommend because he was upset that I went back to the family ward, because I wasn't getting no loving. And unbelievable. And so I complained to the 70 in charge of our area, and he was wanting to hand it off to family stake president, and family stake president said, oh yeah, I'll help you out. Yeah, oh sure, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. Did nothing. They didn't care. And I saw, when I was in isolation at the Salt Lake County Jail, one of the temple workers. He knew me, he saw me, I knew him, I saw him. He was passing out breakfast at one morning, snuck me an orange. Wasn't allowed to have oranges. Never saw him again. And then I get out. And then they keep on coming. Once I start publishing Paleo-Hebrew research, my Egyptian research, they commence again to come after me. And I said, enough. Filed the lawsuit. That's what bullies do. They force you to file a lawsuit because they know they are in the position of strength. They know what it takes to go through and file a lawsuit. You have to be able to be rich enough to pay for a lawyer who can do it for you. Otherwise, you have to do all the education to know how to proceed in a court of law. And I already had experience in 2006 when I sued the church then, along with the state of Utah, and thus 2008 when I filed again. And they turned it around and said, hell no, Travis. We're calling your lawsuit a weapon of mass destruction, and we're charging you with 3 counts of terroristic threat. I was a terrorist for doing my First Amendment right. Remember Joseph Smith? The Constitution will hang by a thread. Because the enemy is planning on putting a king on the throne and destroying the Constitution and our rights guaranteed therein of life, liberty, property for everyone. Not a select few, not the few we consider humans and the others who are not considered humans, they don't get it. And 2 women, which women were never considered part of that. They were considered dependents to the husband, just like children. And so women didn't have the right. Just so much hatred. So much evil. And now they're destroying us. Governor Herbert's forcing people back to work, covering up the sicknesses and the deaths so that Utah can look better than the rest. And why? Because the Mormon prophet, who's a medical doctor, said, we're going to have a magical fast to cure coronavirus. Because if it got out that we have skyrocketing outbreaks at the assisted living center and in the men's shelter and in other places that they're not testing among the poor in Utah, we would just be like every other state that is suffering. And Herbert can't have that. He's got to protect his prophet. Wouldn't want to embarrass him, would we? Wouldn't want to shame the church for being a false church, would we? So, yeah, let's hope and pray that Judge First does the right thing. That she thinks of herself as a key person in history to do the right thing. And yeah, I've already got it planned what I'm going to do with it. It's going to be a charity, an actual charity, a self-perpetuating, self-reliant charity. Because we're talking trillions. And It's easy to do when you got the money. And with coronavirus, we'd have to have automation and robotics so that we don't have human involvement, or as little as possible. We'd have to have regular testing so that those who do get involved in things that get passed to others, we know that they're clean. When the light is green, the trap is clean. Tell them about the Twinkie. What about the Twinkie? Ghostbusters. So, yeah, that's it. So much evil in the world.